Wrestling Heads. I'm Mark Scott.
Chuck Jones. Wrestle Heads is back, and we are in business. Randy's away on assignment, so Amar and I is going to cover the Night of Champions preview, some of the stories going on in professional wrestling. Let's go to work.
Well, we're going to lead off with Roman Reigns. Big story. Roman Reigns had emergency surgery today. Right now. It's happening right now in Stamford, Connecticut, or wherever the
No, it's in Nashville.
In Nashville. I'm just messing around. But at the same time, he's in surgery right now, so that and reports have saying he's not going to be on the Night of Champions. There's no way he's on the Night of Champions card. It was a hernia or something of that nature.
It had to be an emergency situation because this was totally not planned. This was not part of any protocol or any show or anything like that. You know, this is strictly for his health and welfare. And we hope that Roman Reigns gets to a speedy recovery. But obviously, that means he's out tomorrow for Night of Champions. And that was one of the showcase matches against Seth Rollins. Now, I know the plan was something like having Dean Ambrose reappear and maybe come back on Raw. They may need Dean Ambrose to come back tomorrow for Night of Champions and give away one of the matches that they probably didn't want to give away until Survivor Series.
Well, the Survivor Series match, what did you think that was going to be?
I think Survivor Series was probably going to be Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose in a cage or something like that. The end-all, be-all of beatdowns. They can't. Now, honestly, now if it's me, I'm gonna be honest with you. If it's me and I'm booking the show, I'd throw Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins in the Hell in a Cell. That's got to be coming up next month.
Well, that's coming. Hell in a Cell is the next pay-per-view, and I'll put it like this:
next month or the month after. I mean,
with Roman Reigns out, we kind of touched on it last week. This is a time to bring the NXT, bring the NXT title picture, bring like something like we had on Raw. You don't have to do the Fatal 4-Way. You can do a triple threat match. You know what I mean? Put that in the show instead of having Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins, which we didn't seen before. You know, if Roman Reigns can't go, this is a good time to showcase the NXT guys again and put them on your pay-per-view at Night of Champions for the title. I mean, I believe that can work, you know, if they choose to do so, but that's on Vince or Triple H or what, hey, I'm going to say for Randy because he's on assignment right now, Preparation H and Stephanie to actually do.
You know, losing Roman Reigns right now, that's a blow.
Oh, that's
because
big.
they've been promoting him and really showcasing him because they was getting him ready for a bigger picture. But now he's out and we got to improvise again. And this goes back to what we've been saying all along is that you got horses in the stable, and I don't know what the plan is going to be. But we'll be watching tomorrow to find out.
Well, and it was brought to me earlier by one of our esteemed colleagues, Jose, from Hard in the Paint. You know, he had brought that the WWE might be going into a more direction with bringing in a new cast of superstars coming soon. And that feeds into kind of what I was saying last week, where they got the horses in the stable, but those guys aren't fitting what they do right now. But you got the NXT guys, and you put those guys with them, then you got more of a pure wrestlers. You got guys that got mic skills and can get in there and get it done. Not guys that have mic skills and can't do shit in the ring. You know what I mean?
Well, that's typical WWE right there.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so, I mean, there was a lot of things to touch on. Brock Lesnar, he made an appearance on TV this week. Made an appearance on Raw.
Fuck, man, he was gone for like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah,
about 3 weeks.
Brock's he's just not going to be booked for every show. But
the next Hogan,
he came back and he did the spot with Cena there, and they got physical. You know, he German suplexed him on his head again, and I know their match is the last match of the night tomorrow, and I mean it could go so many different ways, but I really hope they don't put that belt back on Cena.
I don't.
He's a 15-time World Heavyweight Champion. If he wins for the 16th time, he's tying the Nature Boy Ric Flair, and I just don't want to see that happen.
Hey, you're preaching to the choir, man. I believe the same thing. I do not want to see John Cena pass the Nature Boy. I mean, if Shawn Michaels, just my opinion, I feel Shawn Michaels was the best. If he couldn't pass the Nature Boy, or Bret Hart, or wrestlers of that caliber couldn't pass the Nature Boy, why is John Cena getting to pass the Nature Boy?
It's because it's circumstantial, though. John Cena is a wrestler of circumstance. I mean, I'm sure the WWE's grand plan wasn't to have him be the champion so many times, But there were a lot of times where he had to hold the gold because they just flat out didn't have anyone else to hold the gold, or they didn't have confidence in anyone else. You know, back in the day, the WWE, when they crowned Bret Hart as a World Heavyweight Champion, we didn't know if that was going to work or not. We knew how good he was as an Intercontinental competitor. We knew that his tag team skills were second to none. But when they decided to give him the belt and put him over Ric Flair, they were taking a huge risk. What I'm saying is, the WWE's gone away from the risk taking, and they've really just played.
Sure thing.
They really tried to stay conservative with their decision making, and that is kind of hurting the business some, because you're going to have to take a risk, guys. That's the only way you're going to find out if a superstar is worth it or not. If you were willing to take a risk on The Miz, then why aren't you willing to take a risk on Cesaro?
Or Dolph.
Well, they gave Dolph the championship.
A cup of coffee, though.
They gave him the championship, and, you know, when he got injured, they took it right back off of him. And that kind of hurts. I understand if you're injured and you can't go to the next pay-per-view and they're showcasing you, then I understand why they took it off of Dolph. But I'm pretty sure Daniel Bryan's getting a shot as soon as he gets back. How come Dolph Ziggler didn't get the same respect? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, there's no risk-taking here. Like, sometimes it's not going to be a popular decision to give a certain superstar a belt. But some superstars, and I think Bray Wyatt's one of them, if you were just to give him a chance, and like put the belt on him and give him a month with it or 2 months with it, he'll show you that he could be a main event player. I mean, when they gave Chris Jericho the first ever undisputed champion, that came out of nowhere. And nobody knew if Jericho was going to succeed and be a main event wrestler, but he succeeded in all phases of the game. And he became a main event wrestler and stayed a main event wrestler. So what I'm saying is, it's okay to take a risk and give maybe a superstar that you're maybe not too sure about, it's okay to give him a shot. Because as these pay-per-views are every month, if you don't like what he's doing, you can take it right off of him. But the fact that you want to play conservative and you always want to give the belt to a sure thing, that's why John Cena is a 15-time champion right now.
Yeah.
You know?
But it's for the fan, look, we're not talking about kids here. You know, and hopefully the PG era is gone and done with. You know, they brought the kids back, you know, like from the 80s, like how we became wrestlers, and a lot of wrestling fans and a lot of other fans out there became wrestling fans, like that's our age, came from the 80s. From when Hulk Hogan was more belt for the kids and stuff like that, you know, in a way. Now, I hope that era's gone with right now, because some of those kids are teenagers now. They don't want to see that same Fruity Pebble shit. You know what I mean? My thing is, it's like this, man. We're getting away from the kids now. A lot of kids go, John Cena's the best. He's this, that, and this. But he's not.
He can still be the best and not hold the championship.
And not hold the title. And my thing about what you said about Jericho, I knew Jericho can hold on the main event stage when it was at WrestleMania with Shawn Michaels.
No. I know it too. We knew it.
Yeah.
True wrestling enthusiasts knew it. But the WWE didn't know it at that time, and they took a real risk.
Yeah, I feel you.
Because that could have went really wrong. If Jericho would have won that undisputed belt and then fell flat on his face, you know, that could have went wrong in so many ways. But they took the risk of doing it, and it worked, and it paid dividends for them. They're going to have to do that again here.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to have to do it again. I think the next person might be Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
Because I think he will cash in and he will be a champion.
Yeah.
Even if it's for a month or so.
But who takes the belt off of Lesnar? Do you have Rollins cash in? Do you have Seth Rollins cash in at Hell in a Cell? If you put and see, and this is what we're leading into, because I said last week Jericho might be the next competitor for Brock Lesnar to maul over, but I'm looking at. And, you know, I know Rusev is undefeated and everything. It'd be nice to keep his undefeated streak or whatnot. But I'm looking at Mark Henry getting the job done at Night of Champions. And I'm looking at Mark Henry getting the job done, but that's not stopping Rusev. It's not stopping his role, because I believe he will roll into the United States title scene if Cesaro doesn't win the title at the pay-per-view. And if Sheamus still walks out with that title, I believe Rusev can roll right in there. But then I believe Mark Henry and Brock Lesnar can be a hell of a fight. When I mean by a hell of a fight, inside the cage, a brawl, a beating, a money.
The only reason why I disagree with that is because Brock Lesnar beat the living fuck out of him twice already. And like that's after Mark Henry doing a run-in. Like Mark Henry came out to attack him.
But
and
he
was
shaved
the one.
his head now. He got bald head now.
I understand that, and it was time for those dreads to go.
Yeah.
But you know, that's why I can't agree with that, because they've already made him look horrible. Because remember, it was 2 separate times. Mark Henry ran out there, I'm going to get a piece of Brock. And that motherfucker was laying in the Hall of Pain when he got done.
Yeah, but
and Brock Lesnar walked away laughing at him. Like, you can't have shit like that happen. But you know what? Since you brought it up, you want to throw a curveball and nobody will approve of it? Put that belt on Rusev. Can you imagine that? It's a hostile takeover. You put the belt on Rusev. Do you know how many people would pay money to see him lose? Like, they've been building him to destroy America. They've been building him. If he keeps on winning, who's to say?
United States title on him. Don't put the world.
No. Who's to say he can't win a fluke victory at the Elimination Chamber or something and win the belt, dude? Like, it would be crazy to think. But again, that's taking a risk. And you can see him standing there with his flag, with his medal, with the world title, while the blonde bitch is talking.
But there's other guys you can take risks on, like Rollins.
Right, but it would work though, because that's a guy that we're watching him beat people, not exactly the best way.
Yeah. That Savant kick.
That Savant kick is surgical though.
It's surgical.
He be chin-checking motherfuckers with that kick.
Yeah, it's surgical.
But I'm telling you, dude, like, honestly, I think that, you know, that's what I'm saying, though. It has to be some form of, they're going to have to start taking some risks. And I want them to do it now before the end of the year. Because once the Royal Rumble starts and we get on the road, you can't take risks
Risks on the road.
No, that has to be
But then
done.
you're talking about the Elimination Chamber, that's on the road.
It is on the road. But when else are they going to have a match with multiple wrestlers where this guy can come up lucky and win the belt?
Yeah, true.
He's not going to be able to go in and beat John Cena one-on-one. No. They're not gonna showcase it like that. They're not gonna put him on. He's gonna have to win by controversy, and to win by controversy, you gotta have more than one guy in there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, whatever it takes to get that belt on his shoulder, or whatever it takes to get the belt on anybody else, you gotta take a risk now.
But then
you know, CM Punk's gone. Okay, CM Punk's gone. We don't know if Daniel Bryan's gonna be the same. John Cena's getting tired. Randy Orton's getting old. We don't want to see Kane anymore. Brock Lesnar's not a full-time wrestler. It's time, bro. Yeah. You were building Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Roman Reigns is now gonna have to get pushed back because of his injury.
Yep.
And he better not. And you better not come back before you're ready, son. You better sit your ass. But I know his dad ain't gonna let that happen.
Nah,
his dad gonna be like, no, nigga, you sit and you wait. Looks like we got a question out there in the field.
Now, the Money in the Bank, can that be cashed in at any time?
Anytime.
The Money in the Bank can be cashed in at any time before the next Money in the Bank pay-per-view.
You think they do it this week?
Now, that's what I'm saying. Do you think John Cena might beat Brock Lesnar? And then Rollins cashes it in, and then they wait for the Rollins.
Now that there's
for
no
like WrestleMania.
Now that there's no Roman Reigns, that's really possible. But the problem with that, gentleman, is this:
you still put John Cena as a 16-time
You put him as a 16-time world champion.
But this one.
But that was sweeping under the rug, though.
But this
that was sweeping under the rug, though.
But this will blow everybody's mind if they reversed it. Have a dogfight still between John Cena and Brock Lesnar. And then you have Brock come out on top. You still have Brock come out on
Brock's
top.
gonna have to win.
You have Brock win the match, but it was more than what he expected John Cena to put him in a fight. And then you have the Authority send Reigns out there in front of Paul Heyman, and Paul Heyman's like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And cash it in on Brock Lesnar, take the title, and right there, because Seth Rollins has no match right now. And whether you put Dean Ambrose in the match,
know right now they're sitting in the room right now going,
thinking about this. They gotta be thinking about
this.
That's a good question
from the audience.
And that sparked us to use our heads and think, it's just wrestling heads.
You know what? We're watching it tomorrow, so we'll have something good to eat.
Hey,
we're watching it tomorrow because I just thought about that.
Yeah, we can't. If we miss it tomorrow, because we were gonna. Hey, I
had some personal family business that I was gonna have to deal with, but you know what? I'm gonna find a way around it.
He was gonna have to go dig some pipes in the backyard, but he was gonna find it. But I'm telling you, We're watching it tomorrow now.
I just thought about that because Roman Reigns is out the way.
Yeah.
Dude. If they don't want to bring out Ambrose, then they can just scrap that match altogether, and then you add Seth Rollins to the main event now.
Yep.
But Cena's gonna have to lose that match.
He will lose the match, but it's gonna be. My thing is, you can't let Brock maul him over like you did this time.
But you know,
put Brock in a better fight than what it was. It's more of a fight than what he expected.
Check this out. If you want what you want to happen, Mark Henry's gonna have to go out there and fuck Brock Lesnar up, and let Seth Rollins cash in. Because if you're saying that Mark Henry's gonna go over Rusev, then you want to have a Brock Lesnar versus Mark Henry for possibly the end of the year or something like that, this is the best way to do it. You have Mark Henry go out with a chair and say, I ain't forgot. As a matter of fact, if you got to put Mark Henry on the authority to do it, you do whatever it takes.
Yep.
You're going to have to do it because, you know what? To save that pay-per-view right now, Seth Rollins is going to have to cash in and be the champion on Raw on Monday.
Yep.
He's going to have to be because no one wants to see this shit with John Cena being the 16-time champion.
Yep.
And quite frankly, Brock Lesnar mows him down again. Who are you going to put up against him the following month? You can't do John Cena again.
Nope.
Daniel Bryan's not ready. Ooh. Roman Reigns is now out.
Yep. Who do you have?
You got to put it on the heel. And then you know what? You put Ambrose against him for the strap at Hell in a Cell.
Inside the cage.
Great question from the goddamn crowd. Man. I love this shit. You know what? That makes pro wrestling sense.
Yep.
You know, when you think about it, that makes a whole lot of sense.
But then what's going to happen to Brock Lesnar?
Oh, he'll go away for a while.
Lesnar's going to go away.
He'll go away for a while.
He'll be back in Royal Rumble.
He'll be back Royal Rumble around Elimination Chamber Royal Rumble.
Trust me, whenever he gets back, when he sees Mark Henry, he's going to fly that head.
But look, check this out, though. But then it can work at, because, you can have Mark Henry do it, or you don't even have to have Mark Henry do that. You don't.
Well, then how you going to knock Brock Lesnar out long enough to lose the belt?
No, this is how you do it. I'm
Kane?
No, come on, man. Kane's
There's going to have to be somebody of some size. Seth Rollins can't knock Brock out.
I'm not talking about him.
Cena going to be...
But no, I'm not talking about him knocking Brock out, but I'm talking about Cena giving Brock a actual fight where this is not a wrestling match. This is going off of SummerSlam, because you know how Cena got his ass beat, right? In SummerSlam,
They had a legit fight at Extreme Rules.
You have something like that again.
If something like that
again where Brock end up holding the title, but he's all fucked up. You know what I mean? And then you have Rollins come out there with Triple H, and then Paul Heyman's looking like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And cash it in on Brock Lesnar and win the match. And win the belt.
You curb stomp his ass and ring.
And all you got Paul Heyman just looking like, I can't believe this. We did what you said. And this, that, and this. And Rollins still.
And then you have Triple H say, see, we always got a plan B.
We always got a plan B. Man, it could happen.
That would be excellent. That would be excellent. That's the best way to go right now.
Hopefully.
Best way to go.
Hopefully. We're praying for that.
Because you know what? If you put the belt on Seth Rollins right now, then it's going to stir up a shitstorm with the entire locker room. Randy Orton's going to say, hey, what about me? Kane's going to say, hey, what about me? Cena's now going to have to join that argument of, hey, what about me? And then when all that's going down, Dean Ambrose is going to attack Seth Rollins from behind.
Yep.
And say, don't forget about me. And then you're going to have to let those two battle for the WWE Championship. And I think it would be a great thing because it'll be something new. When they main evented on Raw a month back, you saw they could fucking hold the main event. Yeah. And if Hell in a Cell is next month.
Yep. Inside of a cage, you get inside of a cell, Ambrose and Rollins.
I'm sorry, bro. It's a done deal. Man, and honestly, even if you wanted to have Brock Lesnar come out there and interrupt that, I would have Roman Reigns spear the fuck out of him.
Yep.
And then you put those two.
And then you set up the Mania of Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. There's things you can do. But
there's a lot you can do.
But see, this is my.
I know one thing. Randy Orton better not fucking wind up being champion.
Oh
again.
fuck no. This is. Look,
that's one thing I better not fucking see.
Look, this is things that we're wrestling heads over here, along with Randy. And a couple of
that's a hell of a scenario.
I mean, they need to get some blood like us up in my office, and
trust me, they got it. Listen,
come on,
trust me, they got it. I'm pretty sure WWE Creative, they've got the best minds in the business. The problem is when they present a great idea, you got that three-headed horse
that has to go.
Mr. McMahon, Mrs. Levesque McMahon, and Mr. Levesque himself saying no. That's a great idea. It won't last. This is why I'm here for a reason. This is why the company is big as it is. That idea won't last. We got to go with this. And that's the best one.
And it is a great idea, especially for the way that we want wrestling to go. Put in these new wrestlers.
That's the best way.
You'll push all the old wrestlers out. You bring all the good ones, all like the new ones in.
Because if they're
prepared for that shirt,
because if they're talking about bringing in this new breed of wrestlers again, means I think they're going back to the traditional wrestlers that can wrestle, like they got horses that can wrestle, not just guys that got good back skills.
Not only that, but dude, you put the belt on somebody like Seth Rollins. Let's say he holds it till Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Or hell, let him hold it until the Elimination Chamber. We're not going to let him main event with it because he's not ready for that yet. No. We're not going to let him main event Mania with it. But you can't hold it right now.
Yeah.
And let the challengers come. He can have great matches with all these guys. If
Bring Kofi back in the scene!
Dude, if Daniel Bryan was to come back and go against Rollins, it's a 10-time better match than anyone else.
Yeah.
Because those guys can hustle, and those guys can fucking blow off steam, and they can fucking get it done. Yeah. And you got some notes from TNA. I just want to say one thing before you do, though. Robert Roode will become their champion because their results are already done, folks. So be looking out for that. I really want to know how Lashley's going to lose the belt. So, sorry.
And that's a damn shame. That's a damn shame.
That we already know, yeah.
That, I mean, the show's probably a month away or whatnot, and we know Robert Roode's going to win the title. I mean, come on. You know what I mean? Get it together, team.
Do you see the difference, though? We just got done plotting and coming up with these scenarios on how WWE show can go tomorrow because legitimately we don't know.
Yeah.
There's still some surprise and some excitement. They let us down a lot, but there's still some surprise and some excitement of what really could happen, you know? And we just can't do that with TNA because it's already predetermined.
Yeah, sure.
Way ahead of time.
Well, some TNA news, I mean, you know, I'm just going to put it like this. TNA news out there, breaking news, Havoc sucks. I mean, you know, like I said, I'm still pissed off on how...
Oh, yeah, we're letting them know Havoc sucks now.
Yeah, I'm just so pissed off how they packaged this woman, and then, she's coming, like, we didn't even know it was a woman, we thought it was a dude, and I thought it was this big megastar Havoc coming, and she sucks. I'm sorry, that battle royal that they had Wednesday night, my bad. Wednesday night was horrible. But I also can say there was two bright spots in that whole No Surrenders pay-per-view. I mean, it's not Samoa Joe versus Homicide. Homicide is well past his prime, and Samoa Joe...
Homicide should be a guy... Honestly, I don't mean to cut you off. Homicide is a wrestler that should be working for the WWE down in developmental.
Yeah.
That guy really can train some wrestlers. And he knows his wrestling. Yeah. He is a ring general. Yeah. But as a performer, his time's up.
His time's up. And Samoa Joe did have those Nation of Violence pants on again. I mean... as he might get kidnapped. We don't know.
Why is he wearing those fucking pants?
I don't know. He might get kidnapped. He might not. But okay. Now the bright spots. The bright spots was. I mean, I'm not saying the Wolves can take the place of Edge and Christian. But that ladder match, that three-way tag team ladder match was outstanding.
It was a good match.
It was, man.
I apologize. I was researching notes for the WWE, so you got more insight on the TNA.
I mean, I don't usually say it that much with a TNA, but that match was outstanding, man. That match to me,
I'm watching their programming.
But that match to me was the best match of the week on all the shows, bro.
Yeah, I watched it too.
Yeah,
great match.
A great match, man, on all the shows. That was the best match of the week, man. It was on TNA's broadcast. That tag team match was outstanding.
Well, then I'm gonna watch it. What? I'm gonna have to go back and watch it.
Their spots were spot on. You know what I mean? They weren't behind. They were on their spots. Even though, you know, the Dudley Boys is old and Matt and Jeff Hardy, especially Matt Hardy with the pop belly, he's kind of old too. And the Wolves are still, you know, well, I'm saying Davey Richards is getting up there a little bit, but he can still move with his steroids ass. But I mean, you know, they made it work. You know what I mean? They made it work. It was real good. It was
get that arm fat back under there.
It was real good. Now, and another bright spot. And another bright spot was their main event, their world title match. I mean, even though Robert Roode didn't come away with the title, I mean, him and Lashley it was a good match. I'm not going to say it was the best match of the week. I mean, it's definitely wasn't the second best match of the week.
Well, maybe,
you know what I mean? But
maybe
it was
the match. Maybe the match where Robert Roode goes over will be a better match.
Well,
see, it's hard for them. See, this is what I understand about any pro wrestling culture. The WWE has it bad too. Mm-hmm. After a title match, they shouldn't fight again for a while.
Yeah.
Like, why are they going right back against each other the next month? Rematch clause, rematch clause, rematch clause.
How do you have a rematch clause?
I'm sorry. To me, the rematch clause should be on Raw. it should not be at a pay-per-view. Like, your rematch clause should be at a television show, a free show, right after the match.
Yeah.
So that you get that motherfucker out the way. Because each pay-per-view should have a different challenger.
Yeah.
It really should. I mean, unless there's some convincing evidence that you're going to have a 5-star match with what you just said.
Yeah.
Then
It wasn't a 5-star match. It was more like a 3.5, but it was a good match.
if it was the best match out of all 3 shows.
No, I'm talking about the tag team match was.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking
That was a
about.
5-star match. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I'll give them that. That was a 5-star match. But the Rude match, it was decent. It kept me interested. I watched it. I didn't turn it off and like, oh, fuck this shit. You know what I mean? And hit the button.
Robert
But,
Roode had his opportunity to come to WWE, and he didn't want to go down to NXT. He didn't want to, like you really think you were going to be down there long? Like, real talent is real talent. You didn't want to come over to the big leagues where if we had a problem right now with Roman Reigns getting hurt, we could have inserted your ass in. You want to sit down there and work in the 6 sides of bullshit, you know. But then, honestly, before Roode, I want Lashley. I want Lashley back.
Yep.
But Lashley's got this thing with Spike and TNA and Bellator MMA and
fucking dick.
you know, I don't understand that, dude. Like, when you could be doing so much better than WWE, I know the WWE's paycheck's got to be more than Bellator and TNA's put together.
Yeah. But the thing is, I mean, I look at it like this. Next week, hey, tune in, because next week we're going to do that recap of that Night of Champions. And trust me, if something big happens like we just discussed,
It's going to be on, dude.
It's going to blow a lot of minds. It's going to blow a lot of minds.
So, before we get to the kitchen bitches, we're just going to give you a couple of injury updates. The Nature Boy Ric Flair had to have surgery. I think it was like appendicitis or something. I'm really not too sure. I don't like to get into people's medical business and stuff like that. But it looks like his surgery was successful, and we wish the Nature Boy Ric Flair a speedy recovery. Also, to get caught up on Jake the Snake Roberts, apparently, his medical situation that he had going on caused him to lose a lot of weight. But, Jake did an interview, and he seemed to be okay, and, he's just recovering, and he made it perfectly clear that he will not step into the ring ever again. And that's fine, That's fine. We got the WWE Network to watch all the great footage. And if you guys ever get a chance, Saturday night main event, 1992, Jake the Snake Roberts versus the Macho Man Randy Savage, rest in peace. That was one of the best matches I ever saw as far as storytelling. And when Jake slapped the shit out of Elizabeth at the end of that match, rest in peace.
You talking about when Randy got bit by the cobra?
No. They had a match because Jake,
I got the Saturday night main event.
Jake the Snake slapped the shit out of Elizabeth, and then the following week they had a big match, and it was awesome, bro. Like, Jake's grabbing his throat. He's all over the ring. Macho Man is in and out of that ring every 5 minutes. He's in and out of that ring all the way down and all the way up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was one of the best things I ever seen. And then at the end, of course, Macho Man gets the payoff. They made the top rope elbow look so devastating that after the Macho Man did it the first time and pinned him, he said, nah, fuck that. I'm going back up for a second elbow. Here comes all the referees and Tony Gurria and everybody. No, don't drop the other elbow. Like, it's so devastating. That was some of the best storytelling ever. And he freaking drops the elbow again. And Elizabeth comes out, and like they're celebrating, and then they cut to the back, and Jake's like still grabbing his throat from the move earlier, and he's trying to get out of there, and like they're celebrating, and all you see is Jake peeking through the curtain like, it ain't over. That was the best shit ever. Best shit ever. Right. So Jake, continue to get well, man. Still one of the best performers in my eyes.
But for the fans that like the clamor, one more match. There's not going to be one more match for Jake Roberts. No. And if you tuned in to NWA, Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, you would have saw Jake Roberts' last match. I watched that.
So, moving on to the kitchen bitches. What do you got this week?
Okay, my kitchen bitch is right here. Please, WWE, I'm pleading to you. Usually I get real loud, like I said, in Hard in the Paint, but I'm not going to do that this week.
Okay. Yeah, check out Hard in the Paint. We talked about Roger Goodell and everything going on with sports right at the moment.
Check it out. But Cena, he can't go over. He can't beat wrestling for the title. Even if it's in the capacity that we discussed, he wins, Seth Rollins comes out and doesn't. That still puts him as a 16-time world champion. That cannot happen. That's why I'm saying Brock Lesnar's got to be in a dogfight, so he can be all beat up like the Extreme Rules match, and then Seth Rollins catches in that way. That keeps Cena from passing Ric Flair, and I'm pretty sure John Cena doesn't want to pass Ric Flair because he knows he doesn't deserve to pass Ric Flair. There's been a lot of wrestlers that came before John Cena that's been really great, and they haven't had the chance to pass Ric Flair. Why should this man get the chance to pass Ric Flair? And like you said, it's circumstantial, but please, WWE, don't do that. I mean, for the pure fan like me and a lot of my friends and a lot of wrestling fans throughout the world, we don't want to see this. We don't want to see Ric Flair's record get passed up by John Cena. Please, don't do it.
Now, here's my thing. People have to understand one thing. The reason why Ric Flair is a 16-time World Heavyweight Champion is because Ric Flair was an old-school pro wrestler that actually had to go down to different territories and defend his championship.
Yep.
This man wrestled in so many different organizations. Like, it was a marquee to get Ric Flair there. Every promoter's dream was to have enough money to be able to do business with Crockett to get Ric Flair down to their show. And he had to lose, win, and defend so many different championships from so many different organizations. You know, to me, the main one in his career still has to be the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. That's more than the WCWs, you know, and WWE, you know, and stuff like that. Like, his NWA Championship reign, I'm glad they acknowledge it.
Yeah.
You know, but, you know.
Because when he lost to Von Erich back in Texas and then came back like 2 nights later over the weekend after he partied a little bit and won the title back, it was great.
So that, you know, that's just because he couldn't leave the territory without the belt.
Yeah.
He had to get his belt back and move on.
Yeah.
So now, here's the thing. Each wrestler, legend-wise, has their own niche. Chris Jericho's thing is the first ever undisputed champion. You know, Triple H's thing was carrying the belt from the Attitude Era, moving into the Ruthless Aggression Era. You know, and being one of the staples as far as like the Elimination Chamber and the Hell in a Cell matches. The Undertaker's thing is a WrestleMania streak. Shawn Michaels' thing is being the best performer at WrestleMania.
Man, nobody outperformed Shawn Michaels in a big match situation, just saying.
Yeah, Bret the Hitman Hart was being the best technical wrestler as a heavyweight champion. And, you know,
Hulk Hogan,
I have to give that to him.
Yeah.
And Hulk Hogan's deal was being a championship for so many years, transcending from generations. So, you know, each superstar has their niche. For Ric Flair, it's being able to say he held that belt 16 different times. You don't give that to John Cena when you know it wasn't legit like Ric Flair's. John Cena's championship reigns were because of business. You know, now he is entitled to at least 12 of those championships. He's had some good matches for him and this and that. But there were a lot of times where he just, like last year, he won that World Heavyweight belt. Yeah, like he won the heavyweight belt. That was just a give me.
Yeah.
That was to start their fucking feud on Raw with him and Orton. You know? We're supposed to count that one? Like, that's ridiculous, you know? That's the same belt that Chris Benoit cried over at WrestleMania 20 after 18 years of hard work. And John Cena wins the belt. He drags it around. It's whatever, but it counts as a championship. So that's the only reason why I say the same thing. They should not let John Cena win the belt, and I really want to see a new champion. If they can make this Seth Rollins thing happen,
I hope so.
That's what's best for business, as Randy would say.
Yep.
So I don't really have a kitchen bitch this week. That's just what I want to see from the Night of Champions. So catch us next week, Wrestle Heads fans. You know, this was a brief show. We're going to bring it to you live and raw. We'll be back in full strength next week. Y'all take it easy.
There we go.